Oh, man. Let me guess. You woke up today, looked at the ceiling, and thought, I literally cannot do this. So you stayed in bed. You scrolled on TikTok for 2 hours. You called it slow living. You called it protecting your peace. You called it bed rotting. Gen Z has made this a trend. The internet calls it self-care. I call it a dress rehearsal for your funeral. You aren't resting, you're decomposing. There's a massive psychological difference between restoration and decay. One refuels you, the other leaves you more exhausted than when you started. If you're sleeping 10 hours a day and still waking up tired, you don't have a sleep deficit, you have a purpose deficit. Today on Sober Psychology, we're attacking the epidemic of apathy. We're talking about the neuroscience of the freeze response, why your phone is actually stealing your energy, and the ancient, terrifying concept of Acedia, which is the spiritual demon of gloom. Get up, wash your face. We have some work to do. Welcome back to Sober Psychology. I'm Michael, your host, psychologist in training, and a guy who has definitely spent entire Saturdays in his sweatpants staring at a wall. I get it. The world is heavy. If you're new here, we don't do the whole toxic positivity thing. We don't tell you to just vibe. We look at the hard data of psychology and the even harder truths of the Bible to figure out why we're stuck. If you're ready to stop rotting and start living, go ahead and smash that subscribe button. Today's topic is the rotting trend. If you're on TikTok, you know what bed rotting is. It's staying in bed all day. Not sleeping, just kind of existing, eating snacks, watching Netflix, ignoring the world. And look, I'm all for a lazy Sunday. Trust, I'm all for it. But for a lot of you, this isn't a Sunday treat. It's a lifestyle. It's a chronic state of low-grade depression that you've rebranded as aesthetic. We're going to cover the functional freeze, which is why your nervous system is playing possum, the dopamine fatigue, which is why scrolling is actually work for your brain, and the Noonday Demon, which is the ancient monastic view on why you can't get out of bed. So let's get into it. Starting off, getting into the meat of all of this is part one. We're going to talk about why you aren't lazy, you're just frozen, and this is according to the Polyvagal Theory. Psychologically, bed rotting is rarely just laziness. It's usually a nervous system state called the functional freeze. In polyvagal theory, we have three states. The first state of this is safe and social, which is going to be in the green. You're chill and you're connected. The second stage is the fight or flight. This is going to be in the red. You're anxious, you're running, you're panicked. And then the third stage of this is the dorsal vagal shutdown. This is going to be in the blue. This is the bottom. This is the freeze. When you're overwhelmed by life, by the news, by your job, by your trauma, and you can't fight it, and then you also can't run from it, your body just shuts down. It hits the emergency brake. You become a possum playing dead. So when you're rotting in bed, you aren't actually relaxed. Your heart rate might be low, but your internal system is stuck in a trauma response. You're absolutely disassociating. Rest is when you recharge so you can return to the world. Rotting is when you hide because you're terrified of the world. Rest creates energy. Rotting consumes it. If you lie in bed for 6 hours and feel worse, you weren't really resting. You were hiding. Circadian rhythms, anyone? Let's go deeper into the biology here. It's not just your nervous system, it's your literal hormones. When you bed rot, you usually do it in a dark room with the curtains drawn. Am I right? Maybe you have a scary movie marathon going. You're messing with your circadian rhythm so bad that your brain thinks the apocalypse has started. When you wake up, your eyes need to see sunlight. This isn't woo-woo hippie nonsense. This is Huberman lab-level science. Sunlight hits the retina, which signals the suprachiasmatic nucleus, or the SCN, to release a cortisol spike. Now, you hear cortisol and probably think stress equals bad. No, an early morning cortisol spike is good. It's the get up and go signal. It sets your timer for sleep 16 hours later. When you rot in the dark until 2 p.m., you miss that signal. Your body doesn't know if it's daytime. So you drift into this weird gray zombie state where you're never fully awake and you're never fully asleep. You're essentially giving yourself jet lag without leaving your house. You don't have chronic fatigue. You have a light deficiency. You're a houseplant with complex emotions. If you sit in the dark for 3 days, you're going to wilt. Open the damn blinds. And then, because you didn't get light in the morning, you don't produce melatonin at night. So now you have insomnia. So what do? You grab your phone. Blue light. Now you're blasting your brain with "it's noon" signals at midnight. It's a biological cycle of self-destruction. You're rotting because you've disconnected yourself from the rhythm of the earth that God created. There's a psychological layer to this too. It's what Michael Easter calls the comfort crisis. We live in the most comfortable time in human history. We have climate-controlled rooms. We can summon food to our door with a button. We have infinite entertainment in our pockets. We have removed all friction from our lives. And here's the paradox. As life gets easier, our threshold for pain gets lower. When you never do anything hard, even small things feel impossible. Taking a shower feels like climbing Everest. Answering an email feels like emotional warfare. You aren't broken, you're just deconditioned. Think about it like gym weights. If you stop lifting for 3 years, a 10-pound dumbbell is gonna feel a lot heavier than it probably should. You've stopped lifting the life weights. You've stopped tolerating discomfort. So when the alarm goes off, the slight discomfort of leaving your warm blanket feels like trauma. It's not trauma, it's just cold. We have somehow or another confused uncomfortable with unsafe. Bed rotting is a safety behavior. You're hiding in the nest because you've convinced yourself that the world is too hard. The world isn't too hard, you're just too soft. And I say that with all love and respect, but you need to toughen up. Here's the other problem. You're resting with a screen in your face. Your brain consumes 20% of your body's energy. When you're processing thousands of images, headlines, and videos a minute, you're running a marathon mentally while your body is paralyzed. This creates a mismatch. High dopamine input and low physical output. That's an anxiety soup, baby. You're overstimulating your mind while neglecting your body. You feel exhausted not because you did too much work, but because you did too much processing. And let's be real, sometimes it's not trauma. Sometimes it's just sloth. We hate that word. It sounds judgmental, but sloth doesn't mean laziness. The Greek word is acedia. It means lack of care. It's a spiritual apathy. It's looking at your life, your potential, and the world God made and saying, man, it's just really not worth the effort. Oh no, Michael used a Greek word. He said acedia. What does that mean? Okay, great. We'll talk about the theology of it. The Desert Fathers, who were the early Christian monks, they called Acedia the Noonday Demon. They noticed that around 12 p.m. every day, under the hot sun, the monks would end up getting restless. They'd want to leave their cells. They would feel this heavy, crushing boredom. They felt like their work was absolutely pointless. That's exactly what you feel. Acedia is the belief that nothing matters. And if nothing matters, why wash the dishes? Why go to the gym? Why even pray? Proverbs 26:14 says, as a door turns on its hinges, so a sluggard turns on his bed. That is a brutal image. You're moving, turning back and forth, scrolling, shifting pillows, but you aren't going anywhere. You're hinged to your comfort zone. The sin of sloth isn't just about sleeping too much. It's a refusal to accept the gift of life. God gave you breath, talents, and a calling, and you're hitting snooze on your own existence. That isn't self-care, that's spiritual suicide. God created humans to work. Look at Genesis 2:15. Not just 9 to 5 corporate slavery, but cultivation, to make things, to move, to impact the world. When you reject that, you reject your humanity. You become a consumer, not a creator, and consumers are always miserable. Now, I need to make a very important distinction here because I know the comment section is going to blow up with, but Michael, I have clinical depression. But Michael, I'm burnt out. I hear you, and so does the Bible. There's a difference between sloth, or acedia, and burnout. Let's look at the prophet Elijah in 1 Kings 19. Elijah had just defeated the prophets of Baal. He outran a chariot. He was working overtime for God, and then he crashed, and he crashed out hard. He ran into the wilderness, sat under a broom tree, and said, it is enough. Now, oh Lord, take my life away. He was suicidal. He was rotting under that tree. Now watch how God responds. If this was a sloth issue, God would have said, get up, you lazy bum. But God didn't say that. God sent an angel. And the angel didn't give him a lecture. The angel gave him a snack and a nap. Scripture says Elijah ate, drank, and went back to sleep. Then he ate again, and then he got up. There's a Snickers commercial somewhere in here, I'm sure.
Better? Better.
You're not you when you're hungry.
Sometimes you aren't lazy, you're empty. Elijah wasn't suffering from sloth, he was suffering from depletion. If you've been fighting battles for months, you need a broom tree moment. But notice this, Elijah didn't build a house under that tree. He rested, he refueled, and then he moved on. The difference between rest and rot is the timeline. Rest has a purpose, that's restoration. Rot has no end date, it's just escape. If you're eating snacks and napping because you need to get back into the fight, that's Elijah. If you're eating snacks and napping because you want to avoid the fight forever, that is sloth. You have to be honest with yourself about which one you're doing. So how do we break the freeze? How do we exorcise the noonday demon?
Exorcise the demon.
You can't think your way out of a freeze response. You have to move your way out. Number one, do it badly. Your perfectionism is keeping you in bed. You think, if I can't clean the whole house, I won't start. Forget that. Do it badly. Brush your teeth for 10 seconds. Wash one dish. Put one sock on. Action precedes motivation. You will not feel like doing it until after you do it. Your desire to make everything a home run prevents you from even taking a swing. Number 2, somatic shaking. If you're in a dorsal vagal shutdown, you need to wake up the nervous system. Stand up and literally shake your body. Shake your hands, bounce your heels, jump up and down. It looks stupid. Trust me, it looks stupid. Do it anyways. Animals do this after they escape a predator in order to release stress. You need to signal to your body, we're safe, we're moving, we're alive. And number 3, creation over consumption. For the first hour of the day, don't consume any content. Create something. Make coffee, make your bed, write a prayer. Reclaim your role as a cultivator and not a consumer. Look, I know the bed is warm. I know the world is cold. I know it feels safer to rot, but you were not made to rot. You were made to rise. Jesus didn't die on a cross so you could doom scroll your life away. He came to give you life, and life abundant. Abundance is waiting for you, but it's not in that bedroom. It's out there in the uncomfortable, messy, beautiful world. Here's your challenge. Tomorrow morning, the moment that your eyes open, put your feet on the floor. Count to 5 and stand up. Do not check your phone. Just stand up and then comment below, I am rising. I'm Michael. This is Sober Psychology. Get up, get moving, and wake up. Keep your head up, keep your heart open, and go help somebody. Love you guys.